Are you guys ready to visit the park of your dreams? Quite literally. In today's episode of Park Spotlight, we're going to be going to Abby's Dreamscape, and here they say, hello and welcome to Abby's Dreamscape. The park was created solely out of my dreams, literally. I had dreams of me playing Planet Coaster or going out on adventures. This park is not meant to be realistic at all. Guests will ride around on the Dream Express to get to each of the dream areas. This is my first big park, so computers started to struggle near the end, and it's not all that pretty. There are 5 areas in total. We have Skytown, Mermaid Cove, Grenta, Alpine Village, Outpost 924, and the Boardwalk. Warning that there are TMTK within the park, so it might slow down the download time. Some buildings are mine and others are generic buildings from within the game. Please enjoy. There we go. Also want to give a shout out to Abby. She is a patron, diamond patron, and an advanced builder in this community. Thank you so much for your tremendous support over the years, Abby. And without further delay, let's jump right on into Abby's Dreamscape. Well, this is an awkward way to enter the park. I'm not sure if this is the park entrance, but they spoke about getting off the Dream Express, and this is where I'm getting off. Interesting concept here today, like going for something very whimsical and dreamy. Dreams are very abstract and, oh, whoa, hello. Skytown. Look down for Skytown. Oh no. It would have probably made more sense to have Skytown up in a cloud than down below. I almost missed the sign there. But yes, dreams are very abstract, and half the time they don't make sense, and some of the visuals don't really come together. So if things don't make sense and things are a miss, it kind of is accurate to that of which a dream is. So kind of a fun concept here. This whole area made out of basic shapes, crazy clouds. We are in Skytown. Very interesting. So we have an observatory. I'm going to pass on the observatory. For whatever reason, they're just not that great to ride. We can check out the drop tower. Why is it stuck in the middle? Why did it drop from the middle? Does that normally happen? Hello? Game? Oh, here we go. Right to the top of the cloud. So it looks like we have a big Giga Coaster over here for Skytown, touching the tops of the clouds there. Very cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really seen a whole area done out of basic shapes like this, so it's kind of a fun and interesting concept. Let's see if this looks like it's the queue. The guy's standing there. So this must be it. There are trees growing out of clouds, by the way. That's definitely something abstract out of a dream for sure. All right, our first coaster of the day is the Cloud Runner Giga Rage. Green across the board, 1.4 kilometers in length, 78 miles per hour, 7 airtime counts, 6.1 seconds of airtime. Very good stats on this one, Abby. Great job on getting some great airtime counts on that. We probably go track view for this because, hey, do we have music? Belong in the air. Perfect. Track view would be probably the best because we got flailers, people on. This was a scenario as well, so it was locked to 3,000 guests. We can't add any more or take any out because it's a scenario map. So let's check out, what was the coaster called? Cloud Runner. Let's go. I've been sitting here for like a minute on 3 times speed fast forward, and the ride is not moving. What's going on here? And now there's a traffic jam. I think there's something wrong with your ride, Abby. We're gonna throw in a test mode. Screw the people. Here we go. Oh, since I kicked the guests off, we could probably do seat view now. Let's go! Hey, that's a pretty fun concept. I quite like that. When I first opened up the park, it was at nighttime. So why don't we check it out at night? And this time I will do the track. Why not? Let's go. I really like this concept of a coaster in the clouds, and I don't really feel like it's been done. It's a concept that hasn't really been played with. I guess I could open up the ride to the guests again, even though they're probably just going to get stuck. What I would suggest, I'm going to try to give as much feedback and suggestions as possible, because Abby is trying to advance in the ranks, get better at building, and she also is a patron. So I will add some feedback here and there. She did mention performance wasn't that good by the end of the park. Well, 10,000 million billion trillion quadrillion clouds or circular basic shapes is not going to help out on lower end machine. What I probably would have done is built this out of terrain. All the floating clouds. You could kind of like pull the terrain up and then kind of delete it, and then you have these floating bits in the air, and just get a whole bunch of muck, a bunch of terrain in the sky, and then just start like erasing it, and then just fill the sky with terrain, and then paint it all white after with snow. And that way you get almost zero performance. Like, you can make as much terrain as you want in this game, and it will not affect FPS, because the entire base map is terrain. So you can go really crazy with the terrain and not have it hinder your computer at all. Therefore, all of this could have just been terrain. I'm not an expert on this matter, but I've seen people make shells, and there's a setting that you can fill to shell, fill to object. So you make these like bubbly shells. I've seen it with ice cream scoops and stuff. Chance done it in the past. I think there's some templates online, and you just put the terrain inside and fill it up, and it won't go outside of the sphere. So there's people that have made these like ice cream scoops and stuff, and then you kind of just fill them up with terrain, and then it won't bleed out, and all the terrain will stay within the shell. And then you can kind of just move that around, fill it up, move it around, fill it up, move it around, fill it up, and you will get these kind of like bubbly shapes. What happens with this, it feels more like a bubble bath, right? Because you use so many little bubbles that I feel like I'm in a bathtub rather than in the clouds. With the terrain, you could go a little bit more, clouds are very unique. Some of them are airy, some of them are long, and I think terrain would give you more control over that. But I like this idea of like going over, like touching the clouds. There's a few points where we like went through the clouds even, and then up top it was a little bit barren. So with the terrain, you could just really add a lot more of it, and I think that would have a little bit more of a job of making you feel like you're in the clouds. So I would look into the terrain fill tool, see what kind of things you can download on the workshop to help you do that. I think Chat might have a blueprint on her workshop for filling in circular terrain shapes, but I'm sure a lot of people in the community have something similar. So I poked over there, I poked over here. I don't know how to get to the next area of the park. Do we have to get on the train? I guess we do. Okay, let's get on the train and go to the next area then. So a little bit more feedback. I think you only have one train running on this. Yeah, one train. One train and number of cars, 2. That is not from the dreams. That is from the nightmares. If we close this down, oh no. Why can't we add more trains? Oh, it's in scenario mode. It won't let me edit it. Oh, scenario mode. So there's only one rinky-dink train that takes us around the whole park, and this thing goes around the whole park. And it's only got 2 cargos for the guests. Well, at least I won't have trouble finding the right train. But yes, next time you make a train, make at least one train for every station. Sometimes it'll get backed up depending on how much traffic there is, but better to get backed up than have to wait for the train to go around the entire park before it takes off. What is the deal with rides not taking off in this park? Look at this. This is no longer Abby's Dreamscape, it's Abby's Nightmare. What is wrong with this? There's something wacky going on with this scenario mode that I've never seen before. The coaster got stuck. The train is literally stuck. I don't know what it's waiting for. It's like trying to offload the guests, but it can't. Yeah, what the heck? Okay, we're just gonna ride it in test mode. Because I have no idea what's going on here. Yeah, there's some weird things happening. But it is what it is, I guess. So here we're going past Skytown. Gug. Underneath the Giga Coaster. That cloud is raining. Very fun. And then this should take us to the boardwalk town. Got a boomerang. Boardwalk. There it is. Now all these people are going to be stuck here. And we have arrived at Boardwalk Station. Bum, bum. So we have a bit of a flat ride over here. Big ass wooden coaster. Some Missy Goods. Professor Worst. Sausages and donuts. I feel like there's a joke. Oh, there's a joke there. Wow. So we got a boomerang here. It looks kind of like the one that you get in the blueprints, if I'm not wrong. You go to blueprints, coasters. I can't seem to find it. Anyways, I feel like that's like the standard blueprint you get in the game for the boomerang, right? It goes up, it hits the Cobra roll, does one inversion, and then it repeats. A little bit disappointing. These are the type of boomerangs I generally don't like to ride because they're so simple. You're stuck on the lift hill for majority of the ride, and it's not that fun. So I would say if you're gonna do a boomerang in the future, try to like at least make it do the Cobra roll over the boardwalk or over the pier, or, you know, pass over the guests in some way and then go up the other side. Maybe you could have put it on either side of the Ferris wheel. Something a little bit more interesting could have been done with the boomerang, in my opinion. Yeah, but we have a gigantic wooden coaster over here. And where's the queue for this? That's the exit. Is it? What's happening here? What's going on in here? Tiki Chiki. Wait, the queue is in the restaurant? In a table? There's a park. It's a queue to a park entrance? What? This is definitely a park out of your dreams because nothing makes sense. I have no idea. This is the boarding station to the coaster. Oh, the queue is the exit. See, I didn't want to get baited going up an exit because I was like, oh, that's for sure the exit because I could see it. But if you go up past the exit, there is a tiny queue. Now, the problem with this, Abby, this might be part of the problem. The coaster wants to fill up before it leaves, but you don't even have enough people in queue to fill up the coaster. So, like, all these people will get on the next one, and then we have to wait for more. The guests will complain if the queues are too short. But, as mentioned, this is a park from our dreams. So, of course, weird stuff is amiss. So here we go. We got the Cyclone coaster, 1 kilometer in length, 46 miles per hour. No airtime on this one, but it looks like quite the big Woody with a 1 kilometer in length. So let's check it out. Oh no, not this again. The park from our nightmares, guys. The coaster's literally full. How, oh, the mechanic. Please just tell me it's a maintenance check. Okay, here we go. Okay, super mild, and that's why there was no airtime on this wooden coaster. So if I were to give some feedback and advice on this, is to make the slopes or the drops more steep. Drop it down lower, bring it up, not as high as this. We're almost at the same peak that we were up here, and the coaster's coming to a crawl, and it never has a chance to build up momentum or airtime. So by having steeper drops and then bringing the coaster up not as high, it's going to go faster and faster and faster. Then when we get to the corners, rather than running out of momentum and then turning this corner, instead you have this really insane inward banking turn, like almost, 45 degrees or 90 degrees, just completely sideways around the corner and then back down to another really heavy drop. And then you can, when you get to spots that you can add more bunny hills like this, right? Because now we're coming through here, banking around the corner, dropping down, coming up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then we're getting airtime on each of those bunny hills. Everything is very, very high, and it's always losing its momentum. So the coaster never really gets to get going, and we don't really get any of that extreme banks or airtime. So that would be my suggestion for the wooden coaster, and the train ride still hasn't left. What? I don't know what. Everything's broken. We're just gonna run down the train tracks. We're gonna go flash. Do the flash. Run down the tracks. And see where this takes us next. Did you test your rides, Abby? What is happening? I have a feeling it has something to do with the scenario mode. This is not a park sandbox. It is a scenario mode. And very interesting concept to only allow your guests to navigate to certain areas of the park using transport rides. I've never really seen that, and it will cause the guests to get lost if they don't want to go on the train, or if the train's not working, or you only have one train in the entire park. If you're gonna do a transport only kite park, I would add more boat rides, chairlifts, trains, monorails. Add more means of transportation and make sure there's lots of trains on them and that they're all working. This is kind of crazy. So what we have here is like a sci-fi, steampunk, western mashup. Now, what's going on with the path? Very, I mean, it is a park from the dreams. I can't really judge it. I'm going to assume this is intentional, but there's actually no terrain on the ground. The park is floating, but there is terrain down here. But as a result, you get these, strange pathing networks, but I guess that's exactly intentional to that of a crazy dream. So I can't really say that that's wrong or right in this situation. Definitely an interesting choice, though. Yep. I like the scale of this area. Having the sci-fi walls, the red rocky terrain. It's an interesting mashup for sure. Now, here I am. I've looked around and... Oh, we have to go up another exit. And you guys get mad at me for going up exits. It's parks like this, okay? You have to go up the exit. So, we're at the Monoceros. 1.3 kilometers, green across the board, 60 miles per hour, 5 inversions, 6 airtime counts. So a little bit more airtime on this one here. Let's do track view and give it a go. Oh my God, would you look at this coaster track? It's a spaghetti ball. This is the next interesting block section. Yeah, and some of this stuff I don't know if I should comment on at all because it is a park from the dreams and nothing's necessarily meant to make sense. What I will recommend for coasters like this that you've done here is just go a little bit heavier with the banking, and then in between grab this segment after you extremely overbank it, select that and the exiting segments and the entering segments, and then just tap that smooth button a few times. There's a little bit rickety spots in here that if you grab multiple segments and hit smooth together, it'll kind of like smooth these little janky bits out and it'll transition nicer. And then you can like just really go ham with the banking on things. Don't be afraid of that banking tool, and that smoothing tool is your friend when you do accidentally overbank something. All right, so is this everything in Outpost 924? We're back into the train station. It somehow took off this time, and we're gonna follow it back to the next area. Where are we now? Gretna. Cool. This is a vibe. Little Bavarian village style going on in here with some fantasy. Yeah, definitely something out of your dreams. What a mashup. Hey, we found all the guests. Where are they gonna lead us? To a carousel. They're all jammed here. They all stuck. Excuse me, coming through. Wait a second. I was gonna say this is the exact same boomerang that we saw at the boardwalk. You have a cobra roll into an inversion, but it's not a boomerang. It's either inverted or suspended steel, but it's the exact same layout, which is interesting. So we have the chair swing ride over here. A little bit of a Viking look on some of these builds. Hey, we found a queue that actually starts as a queue. Just go on into the floating building here, And we have arrived at Alpine Mountain Flyer. Almost a kilometer in length, 61 miles per hour, 6 inversions, 4 airtime counts. Let's check it out. Woof. Could use smooth on a few bits there, but not bad at all. Not bad. All right. These areas are so like crammy and confusing, but like again, it's a dream and sometimes a bit of a nightmare. And I believe that the train will just take us back. Oh no, there's one more area. Let's go back on the train. Meep, meep. And what looks like to be like a Caribbean floating trees. Part of a dream. Wait, what? Oh, it passes by Skytown. And all the way through here. And it goes back to Skytown. Oh, I'm supposed to get off here. Derp. All right. Here we go. We got a water cascade. It's Mermaid Cove. Are we going to spot some mermaids here today? No, but we will spot some tentyfoos. That's adorable. All right. Lots of colors. Lots of vibes. Got a river rapids. Let's check her out. What do we got going on here? Into the jungle. A bit of a short run. I like how you've sunk this river rapids into the water like this. I don't think I've actually seen this before. It's actually like barely staying above the water, almost sinking, but it makes it feel very interesting. I like this. The song for this ride is only working on the boats that we're not on. If everything could go wrong in this park, it's happening to us today. Just like a dream. But nailed it. Pretty decent river rapids, very integrated. I don't know why the music was working for every other car except for the one we went on, but it's a fun little circuit, and as I mentioned, I like how it dips right into the water here. You got the blue panels underneath with the water and the river rapids all, it's like 3 layers of stuff going on there. So very interesting indeed. Got a Rocktopus over there. Water cascade is the main feature of this area. We got a Tentifu. Let's go check out the cascade as it passes over top of us here. Very cool. Oh, there's like a pirate ship. The waterfall that goes into the other area. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I like it. All right. We're gonna head over to the water cascade. Another super short queue. And some backed up boats. So what do we have here? The Treacherous Waters, sailing the high seas. A kilometer length, 70 miles per hour. The biggest drop is 31 meters. 7 seconds of airtime on this one. This one's going up the lift, so why don't we get on this one here, and off we go. Thematically and ride-wise, I think that's my favorite ride in the park so far. I want to see if there's some nighttime lighting on this one. I believe there is. Why don't we check it out one more time at night? The fact that this one had, like, it had some really good splashdown moments. While they weren't, like, full splashes, you could have run them out a little bit longer and dragged us through the water a bit. It never lost its momentum, which is, like, one of the benefits of just doing those little dip downs. But every time we dipped down, we got to see a different sea creature. And we kept that momentum going. Up and down, up and down, up and down, getting all of those airtime moments, which made the ride quite enjoyable for me. Pretty cool. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, Abby's Dreamscape. What do you even say for final thoughts on this park? It's like... the idea, the concept is this is something out of your dream. It gives you a lot of passes on some of the things not making sense or being a little bit strange, but that also makes it hard for me to give feedback because I don't know if something was unintentional or intentional or just meant to be abstract and strange, which would then be intentional. Yeah, I really don't know how to critique it in the way it's like, you know, a lot of the strangeness with the pathing system that could be intentional. But if you would have built it on the ground, you would have had a smoother pathing experience. But again, could be intentional. The themes, the concepts themselves is what we could talk about, and the mashups were kind of cool. Sci-fi mixed with the steampunk and Western. It's all very interesting. The concept of being able to go to each of the lands only by transport, unfortunate that it wasn't working. So one thing that would be a feedback, whether this be an abstract dream or not, would be to make sure that you have multiple trains, good capacity on your transport rides, or multiple transport rides. It would be good to, because you have so many water areas, right? You have this water area here, this one here, and this one here. You could have definitely had a boat ride that takes you from 1, 2, 3 back around 1, 2, 3, and then you could also have a little bit more of that scenery going around here for another transport ride, whereas the train ride might just take you to 2 of the areas and back around, or 3 of the areas. So having different train rides and different transport rides taking you to different areas, or having just multiple choices, would definitely ensure that the guests are flowing from one area to the next a little bit more smoothly. There's some crazy stuff here, like a patch of unrotated trees. I want to say that this is the stuff from this is the stuff from your nightmares. This is how a dream would be if you were to dream up a theme park. So in some ways I think it's accurate, but I can't really give any additional or proper feedback unless Abby says, like, this is I wanted to do XYZ theme park and this was my goals and this was like going for. If you're telling me that your goal was to make something out of your dreams, I can't really critique that or say that there's anything wrong with this. So I think you achieved what you set out to achieve, but in terms of feedback, if that's not what you were wanting to hear and you were wanting to hear other stuff, I don't know how to comment on that here today. So yeah, I think you set out to achieve what you wanted to. Like I said, with the clouds in the first area, there are ways to make that a little bit more efficient, so that your computer doesn't melt by the end of it. I gave you some feedback on the wooden coaster, so I tried to provide as much as I could going through it. I think my favorite area would have been the cove, and I guess the last thing I would say in terms of feedback, whether it's a dream or not, I would definitely make it so when you get to a ride, you know, you have a big sign here saying like this is the Treacherous Waters right here, with the queue lighting us in. A lot of the queues you had to go up the exit to get to the queue, and then the queues were end up being really short, and that's not good for capacity. So there's some like theme park management improvements that I definitely think would help, and then bringing the flow of the park back around, because a lot of it was like you'd get cramped and then you'd get to dead ends. There's a lot of like traffic jams and only one way to get around, where having a bit of a circular layout or a flow or a main street would, if you're doing like a main street, you want to use the thicker paths, like the 9-meter or 12-meter paths going through, and then start branching off from there. So flow wise, I felt it pretty hard to navigate. I felt claustrophobic, I felt cramped, but again, I feel like a lot of my dreams feel that way. So kind of nailed it. But if you didn't intentionally do that, my feedback would apply to your future parks if you're trying to make them a little bit more on the realistic side. So that's everything I got to say about this one here today. What did you guys think of Abby's Dreamscape? Fire away down in the comments below. And that's going to do it for us in today's episode of Park Spotlight. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye now.